Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ahern Live Comedy Showroom for tonight's Bear Touch of Vegas. Having missed an obvious applause, yes, there we go. And now please welcome your host, Lorenzo Clark. Yes, let's hear it for him, yes, playing the music. Yeah, let's hear it for him, yes, come on, get crazy. Woo, look at the crowd. Well, what about you guys over here? What about the people in the bar? Yes, what about the people in the back? What about the balcony? Somebody scream! Well, everybody, welcome to A Bear Touch of Vegas. Are you excited? Us too. When I say us, it's not just me. We have a panel of experts who are going to come out here and talk to us about the history of the Las Vegas shows. And I think without any further ado, I've met most of you. I think I've met all of you. So I won't take too much time to talk about myself at this point, but I will be interjecting throughout the evening. So without any further ado, let's get to our panel of experts. First of all, a young lady who has the longest running podcast and interview show here in Las Vegas called Ninon, live in Las Vegas. Please welcome to the stage, it's Ninon de la Rosa. There we go. Ninon. I knew I was going to mess that up. This is Ninon, everybody. Yes, the lovely Ninon. It's so much easier to say Ninon. Ninon, there's a microphone for you. I think you just sat on it there, which... Yeah, here, let me help you with the switching it on for you there. There we go. Testes, I have two. Okay, all right. It's a burlesque show, everybody. It's a burlesque show.
This is very dangerous now because I'm live.
Say again now?
It's very dangerous because now you've put me on live.
I put you on live, exactly. There she is, everyone. The lovely Ninon.
Not a good thing.
The lovely Ninon. Okay, and then we're bringing out a gentleman who starred in many of the Vegas review shows over the years, a true legend when it comes to comedy and magic, and a known icon here on the Strip. Currently touring with the Lance Burton and Friends show, but here live for you tonight, please welcome Mr. Fielding West. Fielding West, there he is. Fielding West, everybody. Let's hear it for him. Fielding West. Shall I switch yours on too? There we go. Fielding West, everybody.
You always turn me on.
You always turn me on. I love that. Okay. All right. Very nice. And finally, last but not least, a young lady who is not only a dancer, but a choreographer, director, and producer of two different burlesque shows, Sexy and Excite, and she's here tonight. Please welcome Jennifer Romas. There she is. Yes, the lovely Jennifer Romas. Everybody. Fantastic. And there's a microphone for you. All right. Very nice. So maybe we'll just kind of go down the line. We'll start with Jennifer. Everybody say hello, and we'll get acquainted and take it from there. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. How are you? I can see all of you. I can see all of you out there. No, first of all, just thank you. I know this is kind of a new program that you guys are starting, and I'm honored to be here for the first roundabout with these amazing people. And let's have some fun tonight.
Yes, exactly. Fielding.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here. Look at me. I'm surrounded by these two beautiful ladies. And I have the oldest trick in magic sitting right in front of me right here.
Yeah.
So this is very special to come back and talk about all the years that I've had and many of the shows that we're about to talk about tonight.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I will say my name now that you lasted so
Ninon
Correct
de Vera
him,
de
correct
Rosa.
him.
Ninon de Vera de Rosa.
He nearly got it. There, you're getting
Ninon de
there.
Vera de Rosa.
You
yeah.
got it.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
have to correct him anymore. It's great to be here. Hey, I love being here, Lorenzo. This is amazing. It's wonderful. The Ahern Hotel is really up and coming. I hear this name going all over the place. Every time everybody says, I'm going down to the Ahern. I said, the Ahern again? Everybody, they love it. And now I am here. Thank you.
Yes, and now you're on
Love
here
it.
stage. How about a
Thank
round of
you.
applause for all of our panelists here this evening. So, and when we talk about the history of the shows here in Las Vegas, I know that all of us, or many of us, will think about the great headliners, of course, Elvis Presley, Liberace, and who can forget the Rat Pack with Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis. Yes, exactly. You may applaud them. Yes. Exactly. Yes. But I think what's been the staple of Las Vegas and the reason and the icon of Las Vegas is the Las Vegas Showgirl and the shows that feature the Las Vegas Showgirls, starting with the Folie Bergère which came over from France, obviously, in the 50s, in the late 50s. And then, of course, the Lido de Paris, which also came shortly thereafter. And then other shows which came and followed, Jubilee and Hallelujah Hollywood. And, of course, Splash, which you were in. Exactly. Maybe you can tell us a little bit your Splash days and work backwards to your recollections of the review shows and burlesque shows here in Vegas. Go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, I guess I moved here in 1997. I was 2. No, I was not. I moved here actually from Chicago, from an international jazz company called Gus Giordano Jazz Dance Chicago, and River North and Hubbard Street, and we toured internationally as a jazz company. I forego going to a full-ride scholarship performing arts college to dance, and my mom and dad were like, what the hell is she doing? But they supported me in my career, and I moved out here. I was actually on my way to LA. I wanted to be in music videos and on tour with, at that time, you know, Madonna, Janet Jackson, things like that were the superstars of that time. But I stopped here in Vegas, and I decided to audition for a show that was actually at the Plaza Hotel. It was the Union Plaza back at that time, and called Extreme. Oh gosh, I don't even remember the name right now.
Exposed?
Exposed, yes.
Yes,
I believe it was called Exposed.
I did a spot in the Exposed show.
I
David
saw
R.
that
Wright was.
show. I saw
It
Exposed.
changed names a few times, but I decided to audition, and I got hired. And I was like, why am I going to go to LA and try to make it when I'm being offered great money at that time for performing in shows to dance on stage? And ultimately, that's what I wanted to do. So that's kind of where I started here in Las Vegas. Extreme Scene Exposed. I think it changed names a couple times while I was down there. Yeah, and then was in that show, and then just kind of, again, a lot of these hotels are no longer here as well, or the shows are no longer here, but
We're recounting the history, so
I
feel
know,
free to mention any of
absolutely.
the old
I was
hotels
in
or-
Splash at the old Riviera Hotel. I actually choreographed some of the numbers over there, and I was a dancer. I also did the Splash water tank before they took that out and put the ice rink in.
A real live mermaid.
I was a real live mermaid as well, too. Yes, I was. Kind of an ironic story. The show that was at the Stardust. Do you guys remember the Stardust Hotel? My man is here, and I'm dating my age here because he doesn't know these hotels were even here at that time. But I actually,
A hotel called the
it
Stardust.
kind of shows how, I guess, young, and I just wanted to dance. And I got offered a lead role at the show at the Stardust to do one feature number for the same amount of pay that they were going to pay me at Splash to dance in the entire show. And I was an idiot. I chose to dance in the entire show instead of take the lead role. But again, at that time, I was just so thrilled to be on stage. I just wanted to dance and perform and show my light and give my light from my heart and passion. And gosh, from there, I worked in pretty much every nightclub that's been here, again, that are not even up and running anymore. Raw, that was at Mandalay Bay. Gosh, I can't even, so many things. I was in a show that was at the Frontier Hotel, if you guys can believe that. Yes, I was trained by Melinda, Showgirl of Magic ladies, to become the magician in a show. Ironic how that story happened.
Showgirls of Magic? Were you the Showgirls
No,
of
it was
Magic?
not, but they trained us. So long story short, one of the girls that was supposed to be the lead, I was actually called in to choreograph. And one of the girls that was the lead, something happened. I don't know what happened. Something happened literally right before the show was supposed to open, like 3 days. And they were like, shit. They're like, well, Jen's going in now. I knew all the magic tricks. I knew everything. And of course, I was a performer. So I actually went into the show for a while, which was kind of interesting. But yeah, I was in Splash for years. I was not in Enter the Night. I wish I would have been. Did a bunch of hotels and casinos out here. Got into, of course, the nightclubs that were up and coming at that time. And then went through I traveled on cruise ships. I headlined on cruise ships for quite a few years. Royal Caribbean, Norwegian Cruise Lines, Holland America, things like that.
That's next week's or next
That's
month's.
next week's.
We're doing cruise ships right now.
We're doing
right
cruise
now, we're
ships.
staying on the Vegas.
We're staying
show.
on Vegas.
Yes,
We're staying on Vegas.
but we applaud her for her amazing career. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So,
and maybe we'll hear about Fielding's earliest recollections of Vegas and coming to Vegas and shows that you've
When
seen.
you were coming into Splash, it was my first headlining job at a place called the Imperial Palace which is now the Link down on the Strip Island.
Yeah.
And I was in a show. We did 2 shows a night, 7 days a week. There were no days off. And I had the closing act. I took Dick Weston, who was a ventriloquist. I took his place. He retired, went back to San Francisco. And it was I was just so excited that I'm not only on the Las Vegas Strip, but I'm headlining in this show. And I would like to talk about this a little bit later. We're going to talk about this later about shows and production shows and whatnot. But that was one of my big first things that happened. When I first came here, I'm not going to tell the Liberace story.
Tell us about Lee Liberace, yes.
So I was working downtown at the Mint Hotel when they had a Mint Hotel downtown. And the guy that brought me out from Florida said, I'm going to take this paycheck and cash. He got the paycheck the night before for 2 weeks. We had 4 dancers. We had 4 band members. We had myself and my assistant. And he goes out and he says, I'm going to double this money on the crap table because I know how to shoot crap. About 45 minutes later, he comes back, I don't have any money, nobody gets paid. So now I started asking people, there's magicians that came in to see me, Carl Beck, Carlton and Company. Oh, yeah. He was playing at the Flamingo Hilton, and he said, you know, I just heard this story, you guys didn't get paid. And I said, no, he screwed up the money, he lost the money. So he said, well, you're welcome to come to my house and sleep on the couch. I love your act. I think you're doing great. And I don't talk during my act. And he said, come see me. So I went down to see him. I'm staying on his couch. And make a long story short, he said, I'll give you $100 if you can write me an opening. I just want to walk out and say something to an audience that gives me some kind of ability to speak instead of just being a silent act. I think I'm bigger than that. So I wrote this thing in about 3 minutes, and he said, this is fantastic. Gave me the money. He says, now here's tickets to the Jimmy Awards. The Jimmy Awards was named after Jimmy Durante. It was shot at the Tropicana Hotel, and it was a live show. And Tony Orlando and Joan Rivers and Tina Turner. But mind you, this is 1980. So a lot of these guys were big, but they didn't have their next jump yet. And so I met Siegfried and Roy and Liberace and oh my goodness, it was just a whole raucous of people that were there. And this is the after party. And the mezzanine, which now is the comedy club called
Laugh
Factory.
At the
So
Tropicana on that
was
mezzanine
where they used to have the parties after they'd shoot the TV shows. So I go up there and I had 2 plastic bags. I had a suit on. My assistant had a beautiful gown on. And I had these 2 plastic baggies. And we didn't have any food. And I didn't want to spend it. I'd take the $100, but I knew there was going to be a lot of food there. So I'm up there and I look over and they had shrimp. I swear there's Lagostino things. They look like little baby lobsters. So I'm over there and I pick one up and I go, Pam, just look around, watch them. Is anyone looking at this? And I said, yeah, just put that down there. And I pick up another one. I go, oh yeah, this looks good. I guess I'm just gonna. Anyone over here? Anyone watching us over here? Nobody's watching us. Okay. I put that one in this pocket. Now I pick up the 3rd one, and within a foot and a half behind me, I hear, "What are you doing?" And it's Liberace. And Liberace says, "We're sitting across the room and we're watching you put shrimp in your coat. That's gonna be a big stinky. Yeah. What are you doing?" And he's busting my balls as big as you could be busted. And I said, I had this job downtown at the Mint Hotel, and I tried to bring him up to date real fast. He says, what you need to do is you need to go to the showcase. Sandy Hackett and this other guy, Terry James, has this showcase. Sandy Hackett's Buddy Hackett's son. He has a showcase on Monday nights at the Casbah Lounge at the Sahara Hotel. I said, Mr. Liberace, he says, call me Lee. I said, Lee, we went down there last Monday, and they put us on at 1 o'clock in the morning. There was one person in the audience. He goes, somebody bring me a phone. Now, I know there's no kids in here, so you guys will appreciate this story, because kids don't know what I'm talking about when I say bring me a phone. So he plug it in the wall. He calls the Sahara Hotel. He says, I need to speak. This is Liberace. Let me speak to Jack Eglash, entertainment director. Jack. I've got my eye on a really good-looking young man. Now, I was from the South and wasn't real savvy and didn't really speak Guyanese. And he says, I want him on at 9 o'clock on your showcase, and I'm going to be in the audience. So now, this is Liberace's new boyfriend, blah, 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 blah. Everybody bends over backwards for me. I go out on stage, we kill. There's a standing ovation, blah, 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 blah. And Sandy Hackett, and we're breaking down our equipment. Got to get it out the door. And I said, honey, we did such a good job tonight. And I grabbed my assistant, and I'm making out with her in the dressing room. Sandy Hackett walks around the corner, and he goes, oh, shit, I'm really confused now. Who are you? And he says, Lee's out here waiting for you. I said, come on, let's go see Lee. So we went out and sat with Liberace, and he said, that man over there right now is going to book you for 12 weeks across Canada, opening for Chubby Checkers. So this is my introduction to the city of Las Vegas. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let's let somebody else talk for a moment.
Well, after those two stories, mine's completely different.
Yeah.
I was behind the scenes, not in front of the scenes. I did not start performing, or actually, if we call it performing, I was a talk show host until 2015. But before that, I probably saw more what went on with Vegas than you can shake a stick. I remember seeing Keely Smith up at the Dunes. At all those shows. I remember when Caesar's Palace had this big thing with the two brothers that came in and took over Caesar's Palace. Remember the big, I think it was when they had all the Egyptians coming out, and it was the most amazing thing. But I've been on the other side, and Vegas has changed so much. I think different. I'm not going to say for the better or for the worse. It's just different, and I absolutely love it. But the burlesque, which I think we're talking about, the burlesque, I never saw a burlesque show, obviously, until it was probably about 1979 I saw it. And that was the year I got married. My husband took me to a burlesque show. I never knew why. But anyway, so I actually started my own show in Vegas in 2015. It was called Vegas Live with Ninon pour moi. And we did that for 8 years at the Peppermill. So I've had and I've met probably more people in the entertainment business in Vegas than you shake a stick at. And it's amazing how they all manage to get together and all manage to do something. But it's also when you're on the other side of that as well, and you see them not get the work they need to get or they need to deserve. You were very fortunate.
Yes.
You are very fortunate. And you extremely fortunate, because there's so many entertainers in this town that really need that break. Absolutely, 100%.
I think we create our own breaks, though. I have to add that in there. They didn't just come knocking.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
But you also have to be out there. You can't be sitting at home waiting.
We were destitute, and it was just a pure miracle that as a pilferer, as a thief, I'm stealing shrimp.
I know. I think that's really funny. I think that's a big joke. If you're a comedian, you did it well. Did it very well. You've got comedians of all times loving what you're doing. But I actually, when you are talking about a underwater swimming show or a swimming show, I had my own swimming show in a tank. It was 4.5 feet by 4.5 feet. I did that for 2 years in Beirut. It was my own act, and I did this contortionist act in this bowl. It's a round bowl. I mean, I'm 5'6", and this was 4.5 feet. So I kind of doubled myself in this thing. And when you talk about staying underwater for a long time, I think you were talking about it in the green room. In the green room. And I was laughing because I was thinking, they'll talk about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Well, I had to do it for like 5 minutes, but I could come up for air, but I had a very small place to get the air. So that was fascinating how paths cross and how they all go. You've been on my show. Yeah, Vegas Live with Ninon. I'm sure some of you know about it, but it's done very, very well. But now here I am, and I'm on the other side again.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes,
I
we
love
didn't
it.
know you were a mermaid as well.
There you go.
Look at that. We got a pair of mermaids.
I thought that was a secret. It obviously was not a secret. You know, we kind of
That's
keep
right.
secrets.
Mermaids and magicians.
Yes.
You know.
And shrimp.
And shrimp. Yeah, it's those shrimp that
Jumbo
bother me.
shrimp. The ultimate oxymoron, right? Jumbo shrimp. Right. Yeah.
So how's this going on with the strip things and everything in Vegas now? Is it still with the burlesque? You know who I know very well is Dante. You know Dante?
Yes, we know Dante.
What's her first name?
Dante
Jerry-
Inferno. Dante Inferno.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Geraldine, is it? Anyway, Dante. Anyway, she was. Huh? No. Anyway, her family had their own burlesque show and
You
everything.
mean
and she's
Georgia Dante?
Georgette Dante.
Georgette
Thank
Dante.
you.
We figured it out. Yes,
Georgette.
but the first female to perform magic on the strip, right?
Absolutely,
Yes.
and she does magic. She swallows fire and all sorts of crazy things. But she still is the old Georgette Dante, and I actually had her on my show and had many of these burlesque dancers. But they were burlesque dancers in those days, and it was very beautiful and very lovely. And do we still have that here
A lot
in
of
Vegas?
costumes and the costume
Yeah, the
changes.
costume.
Right. Well, Dita Von Teese. Yeah, Dita Von Teese has opened her show at the Tropicana. Is she at the
Tropicana.
At the ballets, but the
Oh,
horseshoe.
wait, Bally's, right?
Yep.
The new horseshoe.
Yep.
The
Right.
new horseshoe.
At
It
the
changes so many times, that hotel.
Tough to keep track, right? Okay. and that's actually a nice indication that maybe we're going back a little bit to the sexy, glamorous shows, because I mean, let's face it, Cirque du Soleil kind of pushed out the Vegas review show,
Yes.
which came from the French. Of the French review
Absolutely.
of the beautiful
Yeah, the beautiful costumes.
semi-naked people.
But they were so elegant when they danced and when they
Elegance is
moved
the
around.
key, yeah.
They were so elegant. It was not really. Didn't look bad. It wasn't bad. It was beautifully done. And I think when something is presented like that, it just makes such a beautiful showcase of it, and it's just a beautiful memory.
I want to add something to what you said. I think the difference between what happens today and what happened then, the Don Ardens and all the different producers and choreographers, Ronnie Lewis and who I always think
Jerry Jackson.
Jerry Jackson, all these people, their shows had a formula. So if you
Yes.
went to this
Yeah.
show, the costumes, the dancing, you didn't think to yourself, oh, this is a topless show, because there's dancers that were covered. You didn't think that this was, I like this act better than that act. What you liked when you walked out the door was you had the feeling, you talked about the show.
Yeah.
You liked the show. So it was
The
the
show was
show
beautiful.
was the star.
Yeah.
It was not an individual thing.
No.
And I think that's the change that we've seen.
I think the interesting thing too is now even up and coming performers and artists and dancers coming to Las Vegas from various other places. I mean, I honestly, I don't consider myself old, but I've been in Vegas for a long time, and some of these new artists and talent coming into town who are unbelievably amazing, hands down with their craft or whatever. Nobody knows kind of old school Vegas anymore. You mention the Folies Bergère at the Tropicana, or you mention Don Arden's Jubilee, and they're like, what? They're like these were like these showgirl shows like that everyone came to see, and I think that's really interesting just in how times have changed for artists as well coming into
Yeah,
town.
now we got cars racing through the
it
streets
was
of
a
Las
standard.
Vegas.
Back in the day, it was a standard. Everybody, I was not, unfortunately not tall enough to be in either Folies Bergère or
Talk about the
Bally's.
height requirements and that kind
There's
of
so
stuff.
many requirements. I do remember I came to Vegas. I won Jubilee. Was like you had to know who Jubilee was. There was not a performer and artist that didn't know what Jubilee was. And I went to audition and I put foam in my fishnets that were in my shoes, because I'm 5'5" and a half, and I think the cutoff is 5'6", and they do not let you slide. Like, even Splash, we had weigh-ins and height requirements and things like that. Like, things were very, very structured back then for the production shows. You had your own dresser, your own, person that put your wigs on and things like this. And I think a lot of the production
Yes,
elements,
yes.
one, because the cost of everything has gotten absolutely outrageous because of the way the hotels kind of have
But I
taken
think in
over.
those
But
days, I
the
think it
shows
was-
are not the same. Your
No.
Cirque du Soleil shows, of course, they have gyms and apparatus and doctors
But I
downstairs
think in
or whatever.
those
But
days,
it's
the
very
shows
different.
were very, very elegant, and the women were very,
Very elegant.
and the way they moved. And now it's a little bit faster, and it's speedy up, and it's it's more sexy in a pornographic way because of the movements than it used to be, and before it used
Right,
to.
because originally it came from the French shows, which came from ballet.
That's right, from
So
ballet.
there's your
yes.
elegance, your style, your perfection, as opposed to
Yeah.
street jungle
Street-
gymnastics.
Absolutely. Well, the show I was in Beirut, I was there for 2 years. It was called Maywi at the Casino de Lebanon. And we also had the showgirls there, you know, the topless and everything else, and they were all very elegant, and it was just a beautiful show. But the shows then were different than they are now. They're fast moving now, which is fine.
One of my fond memories in this town was when Joe Esterhaz wrote Showgirls. Remember the motion picture Showgirls? Anyone remember this?
With Elizabeth Berkley.
I hate to say
The
it.
Berkeley gal, yes, exactly. Well, that movie came out, and excuse this is my French, it was pure shit. And when I say that, it had nothing to do with Las Vegas shows, because he wrote a thing about two girls fighting with each other and one girl shoving a girl down the steps so she could get the lead part in
The
the movie.
rhinestone beads.
And I remember the
That's only in
Showgirls.
ice skating where they do that.
I remember the Showgirls in Las Vegas all stood up together, and it made the RJ, our newspaper here, it made the front page. When all the Showgirls in town went, this is BS, this never happens, this has never happened. People get what they get because of their talent, not because they're fighting with each other. And that got back to Hollywood, and that was all. It was Vegas fighting Hollywood. That's not what our town's about. So.
See, one great thing with us older people is that we have great stories. We have fabulous.
Tell us one.
Well, Beirut was one of them. It
An
was
older person. Okay.
No, I am just going to say
Let's
this, though.
take it down
Touching
to
on the
you.
whole burlesque thing, I think everyone's vision of burlesque is very, very different. I think nowadays we categorize burlesque as this big whole thing, which is great, because I don't know if we know what else to call it, to be honest. But like true, if you want to call it true burlesque, is very different than, like, let's say what I do. You know, like true burlesque artists, there's different forms, there are different formulas. I think nowadays burlesque has transformed into more artistry and actual like trained talent versus like the burlesque artists of yesterday, that it was all about, which it technically still is, the striptease, but they didn't really dance. If you watch the videos, like they didn't do pirouettes and kicks and flips and all this stuff. It was very simple, technically choreography, but they had a knack for the striptease. They had a knack for teasing the audience, and I think that's what we have now taken today, learning from a lot of these traditional burlesque artists, and made it our own, which is basically half the shows on the strip now. If you look at, you know, Rouge, Ditas, technically both of my shows, there's a lot of that going on with the male review shows as well too.
Right.
A
Yeah.
burlesque,
Yeah,
a
I think-
burlesque
I think-
number is I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the difference is that originally the Folie Bergère, the Lido de Paris, were these big review shows, which is a big spectacle, and the burlesque was in Pigalle, where you go see the Moulin Rouge. So right. And in that show, a lot of it is about the specialty acts and the comedians and the magicians. But then in Vegas, it kind of all morphed together. Okay, so you got the best of both worlds.
Right.
Okay, and certainly the elegance got married with the bawdiness. And you can have some of those same elements in the same show. You can have something really beautiful and elegant, and then you can have something really fun and bawdy, and it all kind of works together. I think that's what makes it Vegas burlesque, because it has those roots. Go
I
ahead.
think one of the last burlesque shows that I was in 1982 in Los Angeles was the Body Shop. And what I loved about the Body Shop, they had a pole, but most of the girls didn't use it. The younger ones did, but the older gals, Kit Natividad,
Yes.
and some of the girls that were very famous, who worked in all the Russ Myers films, there was a formula. They came out and they danced to one number and they took something off. They danced to the second number, and at the end of that number, they took something off. And on the third number was the anticipation. What's going to come off now? What are we going to see? And that was the one that went to the blackout. So that was the burlesque that I remember
Right.
because of the dancing and the numbers. And they did three numbers, they were off.
Right.
Three numbers, they were off in the next girl.
Yes.
So you had three girls, then you had the magician come on. I worked there for 7 weeks. And this is where Lance Burton started, for those of you that no Lance Burton.
And even a young me at 18 years old
And
with my little 30s gangster
Lorenzo
act.
at
Yes,
18 years of age
yes.
worked there.
I was like, did you ever see the movie What Women Want with Mel Gibson? Where
Yes.
they show him in the dressing room as a young man with all the showgirls. That was me, 18, backstage with Kitten Natividad and Tony Ellison Reedy and
Absolutely.
and the Sextacular Crystal Star and
And look at you now, amazing.
and here I am.
Yeah, look at you now. Now look
Here I
at
am.
him. Yeah.
I know how to do it.
Come on. I wish I
That's
had
why
his
you all
hair.
Do my
joined
hair.
But I'm
entertainment.
jealous.
Too funny.
Lorenzo, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of your hair. Yeah, I want some hair.
Oh, really?
Uh-oh, we got onto a tough
Check
subject
this out.
now.
What'd you say when you quit dyeing your hair?
My grandson said to me, he said, Grandpa, we're so proud of you that you've come out. I said, what are you talking about? He says, well, now you're openly gray. And so that
Openly
was,
gray.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead, Nina.
Cool. No, I was just saying that the Ahern Hotel hair, which is just recently, well, not recently, but it's just coming together and everything else. And hopefully we'll start getting maybe a burlesque show hair, or maybe we'll start getting something
Well,
hair.
I think
that
we're
would be
opening.
amazing.
We're opening up the discussion of it.
Oh, we are. So let's
I'm
start
like, and look
talking
who
about
pitched
stuff. Now let's get down to brass tacks. Let's see exactly where I'm going to fit in here, Lorenzo.
So there are people discussing starting the old burlesque, not to burlesque, but the old shows that like Don Arden had and like Frederick Apcar had in this town. These conversations going on. I called a friend of mine today just to get a little background on this so that I wouldn't be completely stupid up here in front of this audience. There are plans being made, but I can absolutely tell you that Bear Touch of Vegas is not open. It's Frederick's son, Frederick Jr., has completely slammed the door on anyone using that, using the costumes, using the music, using any form of that film or that show. And it was explained to me in very sincere terms, they're going to go another way. They're just going to create. So a lot of those guys that created the choreographer that are still that's still alive, the guys that created the lighting, the sound, and the costumes, they're all over in that little neighborhood next to our Allegiant football field, and they're honking down every single day, designing a new show, looking for a backer. And that's what it's going to take
that's
to
the
do.
thing.
That's
You need the
exactly what it's
backup.
gonna
But
take.
you know what I love you bringing up? You bring up behind the scenes. We all forget. We see all the pretty girls and we see everything out there, but we forget how it is put together. And you just mentioned, you've got a group of people putting this all together, and that's what we really need, because we need a lot of the old. Yes, did you want to say something?
No, I just want to say to you, this is the way they refer to it. They call it the formula.
The
They
formula.
call it the
Yeah.
formula. And
Yeah.
if you're not going to do the formula the way the formula was done before, it ain't going to work, and we're not going to be involved.
The
That's-
industry has
it's
changed,
amazing.
though, to do the formula.
Yeah,
The
you're
formula
right.
does not
A lot
work
of stuff
here.
Well, yeah, I hope
like it
so.
used to.
We have to, we progress. I mean, I remember things when I was a little girl were not anything like they are now. But that's the progression of life, and I think it's beautiful. I love change. I really love it. I love these computers. I love all this technology. Yes, you can say
We have a
anything you
question
want.
from the lovely Emily Cooper.
I just want to introduce myself first of all. My name is Emily Connor, and I'm from Texas originally, but I lived in New York for a long time, 21 years. But I ended up being a Broadway producer, and it was just too much there. It's so much overhead. It's really hard to make money, and I was tired of
Yeah.
just the games and
The games people play.
It was difficult, and so I said, you know what? First of all, I want to leave New York because I'm done with the weather after 21 years. But I said I could also maybe make some money out here. The first thing, I've been listening to everything that you all have said, and I wanted to say that, first of all, I'm very passionate about the history of this town, and everything you all are saying is fascinating to me. And I've started work. I think I may have told you all that I started working on a PBS special with Laura Savini, her husband is Jimmy Webb, and we've already got some funding, like half of the funding for a historical, not a documentary, but a show about what you all are talking about.
Yeah.
And the difference between now and the old Vegas, because everybody misses that, and there's so my husband was Pat Cooper, and he talked about, you know, how Vegas was so magical back then.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and Engelbert, who is a friend. Engelbert's
Oh,
the
yeah,
sweetest
we know
guy.
Engelbert.
Yeah. So I'm writing him a letter right now. I love Engelbert. He's wonderful, but you know that era it's over, as Pat would say. You know, it's over, unfortunately. But I just feel like there are ways, because, like you all are saying, every town changes. Chicago's changed. New York is changing dramatically. You know, even my hometown in Texas that I love. Forget about it. You know, but this town is very special. There's a lot of history here, and my passion as a producer is to try to figure out how we can, you know, preserve the history and even create a new version of what you all are talking about. Your burlesque thing, Jen, but a different version, because, you know, the old era, we're losing the people who, you know, and I just think about, like, even Ocean's 11 is, I mean, it's kind of like it's an obvious example, but when you look at those scenes of those shows on New Year's Eve that they did, and those costumes and the glamour,
Yeah.
you know, but it was also classy glamour, even though they were, you know, if they were half naked, it was still classy, you know. And now this town has become. We just have to figure out. That's what I'm passionate
So
about.
what would you like to see changed in this town?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my last name.
Says the guy in the Yankees hat. Yeah.
Well, my last name is
And the
DeRosa,
AC/DC
so here
shirt.
we are.
But I want to, and I'll keep this short. But look, I'm 53 years old. I missed the whole thing. You know, I didn't even get here for the first
I
time.
don't think
till
you've missed
97.
anything personally.
Well, I want to do everything I can to preserve the history and everything that you all are talking about right now. But you know, so the new generations can understand it. Besides, you having to go to the Mob Museum. Now we're working on the Neon Museum. We're doing lighting up the old a big piece of the flamingo sign in Pat's honor, because last year was Pat's 60th anniversary of his very first show in Las Vegas, which was opening for Bobby Darin at the Flamingo. So we're going to light up that sign.
You know,
So
do you know Grant Filippo? Grant Filippo.
Yes, not
Grant,
personally, but yeah.
Grant Filippo, he's trying to open up a museum. He's been trying to do it for a long time. But if you've ever been to his house where he has all the costumes, they are absolutely amazing.
I've heard about him over by Paradise Palms.
Well, don't
off the
hear
Desert
about
Inn.
him. You go
Yeah.
over and see what he has. You will be amazed. It's all the old
I went
costumes.
by there one day and I knocked on his door. He said, "Can you come back another day?" He literally, that happened. Because
Yeah,
I told him
that's
about
cool.
the show we were. He's like, "Well, I wasn't ready, but I knew about it. But I have to call him. You know, I've got to."
But he's one of the people that really wants to bring back what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So you might want to
So
get
we
in
have to
touch with
figure-
him and try to
yeah.
sort of do something with him. It would be great.
Yeah.
I think at Fielding, I think you could attest to this. The shows in Vegas, they didn't care if they made money. They wanted to drag people through the casinos so they can gamble. Then there
You
was a
just nailed
point-
it on the dot.
Yeah, I'm not sure when it changed. You probably know better than I. Now they want the shows to make money. You know, but there was a time,
The
man, you know,
difference,
they let the shows do their thing. And that was a beautiful time.
I think you're talking about the bean counters that take every square inch of the casino, and we don't need this lounge, we don't need this kind of entertainment. We can put machines in here instead. It used to be when we came here, I came January 4th of 1980, and which is now going on 44 years. This is, thank you. So what I saw when we came here, we didn't have any money, we didn't have any time. We were living on shrimp cocktails. Remember that 50-cent shrimp cocktails? They gave the food away. $1.99
Like the food again.
prime rib
I
for breakfast.
remember Buckaroo breakfast at the Frontier
Right.
from like, I think it was midnight to 5 a.m. or something like that. For
Yeah.
$1, you would get full breakfast.
$1.95, and you could get a prime rib. I mean, this is amazing. But they gave away the rooms. They gave away the shows. They did whatever it took to put people on the floors.
Oh, absolutely. I was one of those people they used to give it away to, my husband and I. We used to have suites upon suites in all the big hotels.
Right.
All the gambling we wanted, all the food we wanted. It was absolutely amazing. It was incredible.
Well, I don't know if it would work today, but it
Well, I
certainly
think- I-
worked back then.
But-
I know one thing that doesn't work for
Yeah.
me is $35 parking at a hotel.
Oh, and we hate that. We
Yeah.
all hate
I
that.
don't, resort fees, I think
Always
is
free
shit.
parking at the Ahern Hotel. Yeah. Jennifer, what were you going to say there?
Yeah, I do want to touch on this. I want to say thank you for that because although I'm a performer as well, I've now shifted over to more producing side. And as a producer of the shows, it's nearly impossible to make money. I don't have backers. I don't have investors. I do everything myself from the ground up. And I don't make money unless the show, I have to pay everybody on my team, my wardrobe, my dancers, my workman's comp policies, my this, my that. I don't make
you're
any
out of
money until
pocket.
the
You
show
are out of
actually
This
pocket.
is one of the
sells.
hardest working women
Yeah, she's amazing.
in
this
show
woman.
business today.
Amazing.
No, but
Right
I'm just
here.
saying, like, you know, it's in the whole backer thing and investors and stuff is great, but a lot of those people coming into Las Vegas don't understand how our business works here. Coming in from other cities, other states, they don't understand. Years ago, realistically, like you guys said, the hotels used to kind of pay for everything.
Oh,
They
everything,
knew that
everything.
getting a full showroom of people in there, those people were going to buy drinks, they were gonna gamble, they were gonna eat, they were gonna do this. Now what's happened is everything's kind of been compartmentalized and divided, and shows do make money, but people don't want to spend money to go to the show. So, and then we're also competing nowadays. I make a little joke. I said I'm J-Ro, not J-Lo. It's my joke. But nowadays we have all of these. Before, back in the day, our local Las Vegas performers, aside from like your Rat Pack that came in, or of course your Elvis and things like that, but like our Vegas headliners and performers became the celebrities of this city because we didn't have a lot of those outside things. I like change too. I love that we have all of these superstars in Allegiant Stadium and football and things, but it's made it very, very difficult for our smaller shows in basically Las Vegas
Well, the
talent
small shows
to
used to
make
be
it
the big
here,
shows.
because you cannot put my show will not work in a 1,500 seat theater. No one's going to pay to come to the shows. And so I think now what's happening too is retrospect going back. We are going back into the smaller cabaret shows,
Should be,
the more
definitely.
intimate things where you've got the tables set up and we can be one-on-one with our guests and things like that.
Hey, let me get the mic. Go ahead.
You know, Cirque du Soleil,
Cirque du Soleil.
they had it down to a science. They worked with the brokers. And not many people speak about that, the people who push the shows.
We
Well,
all do.
Yeah, and tell us how the brokers tie into.
Well, it's all become corporate. It's all corporate now.
Well,
That's the
so
problem.
if-
But is
I mean,
that
if-
bad or is that good?
Don't forget to talk about seat fillers too.
No, if we are being honest, the brokers are great because yes, they do sell our tickets for the shows and stuff. But the average ticket price that actually comes into the producer or the hotel or the showroom's pocket is pennies compared to what that person is paying for a ticket. If you're paying $75 to go see a show, maybe the show gets maybe $20 of that ticket because of all of the fees, the LET tax, the entertainment tax, the hotel, your Vegas.com takes a percentage, your Ticketmaster takes a massive percentage.
Well, don't
So
they have
we
these
have to
three-
charge
don't-
almost $200 a ticket to make $75 a
But
ticket to
don't
pay our
they
teams
have
and our
these,
cast.
2 walls,
It is.
3? Don't they have these 1 walls, 2 walls, 3 walls, 4 walls?
There's
I mean,
4
I said I don't
wall,
want any
2
walls.
wall.
I haven't heard anyone use that expression in years, so.
Yeah.
I'm
I don't-
thinking Rich Little is 4-wall in his show at the Trop, and I asked his daughter the other day, when is he gonna finally give up? She
But
said,
there's also one person in his show.
Right. So,
So
so
he
Rich,
has to
Rich,
sell
Rich
20
is four-walling the
tickets to
worm
make
at the
money.
Laugh Factory, which is a comedy club. Yeah, he can afford it, and he's still a name. He's still
He's still a big name, yeah.
he's
still got
he's
some-
still a
but
name. He's going to draw.
you-
He's going to draw.
What I do understand, though, and I've heard this over and over again, with the old showgirls and all the, what they used to earn an awful lot of money. And now, compared to what they used to get paid and what they're paid now, I mean, it's an insult what they get paid now. I mean, when you see some of these bands and some of these places, they want to pay them $100 a night. I said, $100? That's not even going to pay for gas.
I've been on both ends of the spectrum where I'm a performer and I know how
Yeah,
much
you
I'm
know
worth
what
a
they
night.
got. You
But
do.
at the same time, on the opposite, being on the producer, like, I feel this being a performer for so many years. I feel like I'm very in tune with what my artists need, and I try to be as fair as possible, and I stand up for them. But at the same time, as a producer and a businesswoman, the reality of the situation is very different than what it is. I cannot pay everybody $500 a night to be in my show. My show will not make $1 ever if I'm doing that. So unfortunately, when we're faced with the opposite kind of hand of things like, and it is a shame, but it's because of what has happened through the years of how we pay our
that's
performers
the
and
change
take
of
care
life.
of them.
Unfortunately,
things
things change around. And the reason why all this has happened, because the corporate people, and I'm in a lot in corporate, is because they look at the bottom line. They don't see what's going in between hair, and hair, and hair. They don't look at that. They're not interested in that. They're more interested in the bottom line. This particular, the Ahern Hotel, seems to be a little different. So I'm going to...
Yes, let's hear it for the Aherns.
Yeah, come on, the Ahern.
Yeah, I think what
Is that-
Fielding
is that
mentioned,
not
and
where we are?
certainly it's the point of the movie Casino, where Robert De Niro has that little speech at the end where he talks about how they bring in all the accountants and they're so concerned about how everything makes money and when the money's all accounted for, et cetera, et cetera. So obviously when there was more of a free understanding of the show can be a loss leader just to get people in the room, then we can pay the performers whatever they want. Also, maybe Fielding will speak on this, is from what I understand, they would give the performers extra money because they expected them to gamble some of that money
Afterwards,
away.
yeah, they would. Frank
So
Sinatra.
yeah, we're going to pay you 20 grand a week, but we're going to pay you 20 grand. We want you to lose 10 in the casino. So now they go out there and they're gambling in the casino, and people want to gamble
Absolutely.
with them, and now it
Lorenzo-
becomes part of the whole ambiance
Lorenzo,
experience.
you got it right, 100%
Very well put.
right. That's very, very well said. Yeah, because that's what happens. But what you gain on the roundabouts, you lose on the swings, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the clock on the wall here says we only got a couple minutes left, so I'm just going to go down the line and let you guys kind of close out. Any final thoughts on the subject? And we're just opening up the can of worms, as it says. So we're gonna have further discussions in the future. But Nina, why don't you go ahead and start us
They
off?
have
and
to
we'll
start with
kinda
me.
take-
Well, what do I think? Well, I'm hopefully talking about redoing my show. I have my show, obviously, Vegas Live with Ninon. We stopped that, actually, when the pandemic came in. So then I started another show, and that I did on Zoom, which I found I would never do Zoom, but I did, and it was actually very handy, and it was fabulous. And that show was called Ninon Speaks. Ninon Speaks has been around since 2005. It's a consulting platform, it's a talk platform, it's kind of a bit of everything, but it's done extremely well. And in fact, just recently I interviewed a gentleman called Michael Presley, and he says that he's Elvis Presley's son. We have had the most incredible response on this. I think it's 100K just on YouTube in a couple of weeks.
And did they check the DNA and everything on him to see?
I looked at the DNA. I actually saw all the papers. I saw the driver. But then I was told,
Did he have the lip?
like
Man, did he have the
anything,
lip?
anybody can get DNA. It's like if you want to be a princess, you just go and fill out a few forms, and you can become a princess. Well, coming from England, it's not that easy. They have real princesses there. So.
Very nice, yeah.
But anyway, going back, so now I've got another consulting platform I'm also bringing out, which is 7 series, it's going to be out in about a month. I'm bringing that out, so I've got Ninon Speaks, and I'm probably going to bring out Vegas Live with Ninon again because it went down so well and everybody loved the show. So, and apparently everybody's telling me that I was one of the first talk shows actually in Vegas, so I don't know how true that is and how that is, but we did it at the Pepper Mill for 7 years. I did every single Wednesday for 7 years. Didn't miss one Wednesday. Well, I did. I missed 2 Wednesdays. I missed one Wednesday I was in Hong Kong, but I had my understudy do that. And the other Wednesday was when they put a new
It was
carpet
Ash
in.
Wednesday, and you had to.
Ash Wednesday, there you go. Thank you, Lorenzo.
the pepper
Always
mill up for
bails
Lent.
me out.
All right, round of
Anyway,
applause for Ninon, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Fielding?
Well, I just have one thing that I left out of the Liberace story that I think is a very integral part of that story. It dawned on me after I told the story that I left this out. So Liberace, after talking to Jack Aglash to get me into this showcase at the Sahara on the next Monday, which was 2 days later, turns to me and he says, you actually do magic, right? That was the first thing he said. No, that's not the funny part. He says, I said, yes, of course. And I said, I spent 2 weeks at the Mint Hotel. And he goes, yeah, but you can do magic better than you can hide shrimp, right?
Well, that
And
was
that's a true story right there.
That's
So,
classic.
That was true.
thank you all.
Very nice. Jennifer?
No, I want to say thank you for having me. This was great, and thank you. Is Mr. Ahern still back there, who has an incredible
I think I saw him step out for
He's stepping
something.
out.
So
No, I'm very proud to have been and to continue to be a part of the Las Vegas legendary landscape here. having my own shows and, came from kind of Podunk, Minnesota out here to Vegas, and a little girl that wanted to follow her dancing dreams. So I thank all of you that continue to support our local entertainment. I'm just thrilled to be here and to be, sometimes when I blink my eyes, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, we're performing here in Las Vegas in the great Sin City, the great city of entertainment here. And again, thank you. I know we have a small but mighty crowd here tonight, and that means thank you.
Let's
to
have a
you
round of applause
guys
for the
Yes,
crowd
round
out
of
here
applause,
tonight.
absolutely.
You guys are
for supporting
fantastic.
entertainment. And thank you
Yes,
to you
exactly.
as well.
Thank you so much. Maybe you guys all stand up. We'll give everybody a big round of applause. Thank you very much. Yes, yes. Look at that. A standing ovation. A standing ovation. Thank you very much. Let's watch out. Watch out. The curtain's about to come down. Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I just want to tell you all thank you for coming for this, because this was a big deal. This gave us a lot of insight, and I think this was great that you did this.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll
Thank
be
you
doing
very
more of
much.
these kind of
Thank you,
things.
young lady.
So thank you for coming out. Stick around. We got a big comedy show coming up in less than an hour. So chill out, have fun, and we'll see you all later on. I'm cueing the sun. There it goes. Okay, there you go. Thank you very much. We love you guys. Good night.
Bye.